good water. What's up, everybody? It's EJ Spark. Today we're doing another countdown video. I got a lot of interest and good feedback on ranking Kanye's top albums. I'm gonna do Drake's top albums this week. These are some of my favorite artists, and I like doing the more popular artists because it does spark more interest. So today we're doing Drake's most popular albums, and we're doing the solo albums, guys. Solo studio albums. I'm not gonna include mixtapes because for me, as an artist myself, I feel like there's a difference between like having a full studio album and a mixtape. Not because, a mixtape's not as important. I just think like if I were to ever release like a full studio album of myself, it would feel more special. And I feel like albums have a little more oomph, a little more punch, and a little more epicness to them, I guess. Even though if you're reading this, It's Too Late was extremely epic, especially in the way that Drake dropped his album. But yeah, so I'm just including his studio albums. So Far Gone, Comeback Season, not in there. What a Time to Be Alive with Future. If you're reading this, It's Too Late. Dark Lane demo tapes. I'm not going to include any of those just because they are mixtapes and compilation mixtapes or whatever. Although, if you're reading this, It's Too Late and What a Time to Be Alive and even Comeback Season and So Far Gone, they would all be up there. They compete well with albums, but we're just going to do his 5 studio albums, which is crazy to think that he only has 5 studio albums, but it is what it is, and here we are. And before I get started, I also wanted to say, I really think, right now, in the eyes of mainstream hip-hop, Drake is considered to be one of the best, but I think in 10 years, I think he'll even be considered one of the best in the eyes of old school hip hop fans. I don't think he's there yet with old school hip hop fans, but I think that his music will age very well, and I think he'll get there. So let's get started on ranking Drake's albums from worst in quotes to best. I don't think any of these albums are bad. I'm just, ranking them. At number 5, I have his debut album, Thank Me Later. Now, I personally love Thank Me Later. The only reason I have it last on the list is because it was kind of Drake's, bubblegum pop, songs for people to kind of party to, and it was his first album. You could still tell he had some aspects of being young in the game on this album. It did have production from Kanye, Swizz Beatz, 40, and Boy Wonder. He works with a lot. I knew he worked with 40 a lot, which I think is like his executive producer, but I didn't know he worked with Boy Wonder that much. But I knew he did work with Kanye and all them. Like I said, he kind of just had some bangers on there, and I think it just wasn't as profound and deep as his other albums, but it was very good. I have some amazing memories with it. My favorite songs off of his Thank Me Later album are Over, Find Your Love, and Fireworks. Find Your Love was one of the first, and one of the first songs I was going to say one of the only songs, but it wasn't one of the only songs, but one of the first songs I tried to learn on piano. I think Kanye's production on that song is really good. So Thank Me Later, number 5, just because, like I said, it was a little just not as profound as the other ones, but still a very great album. At number 4, I actually have Scorpion, which is his latest studio album. It's too damn long to be higher up on the list, in my opinion. 25 songs is just a lot. It's a lot to handle, and he may not care if you don't like the album as a whole. He may only care if you like certain songs or certain parts of the album, but no Drake fan is going to be mad that there's too much Drake. But I think when you're ranking his albums, it just didn't as flow together as good as all of his other albums. I just think it was too long. And that's just my opinion. I don't know if other people have opinion on perfect lengths of albums, but I would say my perfect lengths are between 11 and 14, maybe 16 songs if there's a deluxe edition or something like that. But yeah, I thought it was too damn long. It's hard to just listen to the album all the way through because some songs just aren't as strong as others. I did listen to it back today and the other day, and I did enjoy it a lot more this third and fourth time through listening to it than I did at first. So maybe this album will grow on me and many others as time goes on. But that's just why I have it as number 4. Too many holes in the album, if that makes sense. There was production from 40, Boy Wonder, No ID, and many others. Summer Games Emotionless and Can't Take a Joke are my 3 favorite songs. I think they're all underrated, but I love, the synthy, poppy part of Summer Games, and, I did enjoy quite a few songs on that album. So Scorpion at number 4. Coming in at number 3, I hope this doesn't surprise many people or isn't too controversial, but I have Views. My expectations for when Views came out were all the way up there, like all the way in outer space. And I think it just didn't reach my expectations. It was very, very, very good. Don't get me wrong. But kind of like Scorpion, there were a few holes in it. I did think the album flowed better than Scorpion, but I still don't think it flowed perfectly together. Just the track list was just a little choppy for me. I don't know. It just didn't pass my expectations. Yes, you had, like, on one hand you had like very, very, very pop Drake, and another hand you had very, very trap Drake, and on the third hand you have like house Drake, and house music Drake. Like Controlla and One Dance. Those were mega hits. I mean, they were mega hits. You can't go wrong with Control and One Dance. But then you have songs like Weston Road Flows, which is one of my favorites, and just seemed a little choppy to me. But Kanye West produced on it, Boy Wonder, 40, and also many others. Weston Road Flows, Too Good with Rihanna. And Pop Style were my favorite songs, but Pop Style with The Throne, aka Kanye and Jay-Z, not just Drake himself. I think Pop Style with Kanye on it and Jay made it amazing. So yeah, Views definitely up there. Had some mega hits, yet not as good as the other 2 albums, which you guys can already assume what they are. Coming in at number 2, I have Drake's 3rd album, Nothing Was the Same. We have production from 40, Boy Wonder, Key West, and many others, and I really love Key West. I think he's a really, really good producer. You have Pound Cake with Jay-Z on it, and Hold On, We're Going Home. I think those were iconic songs, don't get me wrong. I love those songs, but my favorite songs on that album were Furthest Thing, Wu-Tang Forever, Worst Behavior, and From Time. I think Nothing Was the Same is Drake's most underrated album. I think, From Time, Furthest Thing, Worst Behavior, I think those songs are extremely underrated. I just think he had a lot of underrated songs on that album that were extremely overlooked. And I'll tell you why. Is because it came right after Take Care. Obviously, the number 1 album in my list. I think that's why Nothing Was the Same just didn't pop off as much as Take Care, because it came after such an iconic album. It didn't get its chance to shine as bright as it could have. But like I said, you had Just Hold On, We're Going Home on it, Pound Cake, some great songs, and I think in some years this will be a much more respected album than it was when it first came out, or even today. So at number 2, Nothing Was the Same. And at number 1, I have Take Care. I don't really think that's up for debate. I'm pretty sure everyone's on the same page with it. I think if you're not on the same page, let me know in the comments. Don't really know how you could not have Take Care number 1 on Drake's discography. When he dropped Marvin's Room, he had everyone crying in the club. He had everyone in their feelings. And that song was all about feelings and emotion and hardships and also flexing. You had everything on that album, and it was an album that flowed perfectly like the Millennium Force at Cedar Point. It just went boom, took you on an emotional ride, went from highs to lows to curves and loop-de-loops, and it was just flowed perfectly, and it was such a smooth album. And the sound, like starting the album off with Over My Dead Body, just felt like you're like in a jazz bar and someone's at a grand piano and they're just making these beautiful sounds with the piano and their vocals. And I think he just laid down perfectly everything on it, like the features, Rick Ross, Lil Wayne, Rihanna, everyone that was on it, The Weeknd, like it just couldn't get more perfect than Take Care in my opinion. And I think Take Care can, fight its way up into the top 10, 25, 50 greatest hip-hop albums of all time, no doubt. The way he sings on it, the lyrics, the way he raps on it, the production, I think it's all perfect. Of course, you have beautiful production from 40, Lil Wayne, Boy Wonder, The Weeknd, and many others. I do forget that, Lil Wayne is an executive producer on most of Drake's albums, and I think Lil Wayne really does steer Drake right. My personal favorite songs on the album are Take Care itself, Crew Love, Practice, The Ride, and Lord Knows. I think Rick Ross had a really underrated verse on the album too. I do love Rick Ross. I think he's underrated. He's a great lyricist. But I think Take Care is the best song on the album. I think Drake and Rihanna, I don't think it gets better than that duo right there, because they bounce off of each other so well, and everyone knows their history, and they're kind of flirty with each other and whatnot. So love the album, Take Care. It was my first Drake album I ever bought, and I just remember when I first bought it, like, I couldn't put it down. I was taking it with me everywhere, had it in the car, just wouldn't listen to it nonstop. And it's one of those albums where every single song is listenable, and it's number one. So if you guys have any discrepancies, let me know in the comments below. Who should I do next week? I'm thinking of doing J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar. Let me know also in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please sub to my channel. Trying to get to 300 by the end of the year. Hit a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys Friday for a Friday freestyle this week. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EJSpark1 and go stream my music everywhere. As always, it's peace, love. I love s'mores. EJ out.